Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe Podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast bringing you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 272. We're recording this on a Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. The Packers started OTAs this week. They are underway. Here we go. I'm your host, Tay. And joining me in studio tonight is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? Happy hump day. How we doing?
I'm doing great. Just like Tony Tiger. I want to say right away, we apologize. We teased last week that we were going to have Joey on this week. And that turned out to be a little
Joey
incorrect.
flaked on us.
Well,
he IM'd and he's like, it's too much this week, guys. How about next week? So it's all good.
We'll have that delayed 1 week, so we do apologize for all those.
Thanks, Joey.
Don't worry. Joey's coming, and we're going to get his takes on the Bears.
He's going to bear down on us.
Yes.
With all their over-the-moon garbage that I see on the internet.
I'm sure everybody's been seeing that, right? Like I've been seeing it. I'm sure a lot of Packer Universe has too. All that, like, who's better? Who do you like better, the Bears offense or the Packers offense? But there's plenty of time.
Plenty of time for that. I have seen like even Bears fans posting like, "Hey, look at this one guy, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and they got Caleb at like 4." And you're like, what? Where did you get this? Did you make this up yourself?
Yeah.
Are you guys just like? You're delusional.
What is it based on exactly?
I don't know. It's not based in reality at this point. No. So it's funny stuff.
We've got some more exciting things from our perspective to talk about, and that is OTAs. They started this week, Ren. I'm excited. It got me excited. I mean, I think that's kind of been the theme this offseason is excitement for the Packers. But again, this has made me a little more excited for it.
Yeah, this week I should call you OT Tay.
OT Tay.
And these are the OTAs, Tay.
OTAs.
Because we got the Packers, in shorts, doing 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. It's crazy, Tay. It's in fact, today there were no OTAs. Tomorrow is the last of the first week.
Yeah.
But there's been certainly some interesting things that have come out of OTAs. I think the first of which is we've got a 90-man roster, Tay. And there is only one man, Robert Rochelle, that is not present.
Yes.
They almost have 100% participation in a non-mandatory OTA, which is incredible. But I think it speaks to the team, what they, how they ended last year, that coalescing. Obviously having Jordan there, even though the contract's not done yet. It's far away. It's not far away. We all know it's going to get done. It's just a question of if, not when, or when, not if, kind of thing. So that's impressive. And Matt LaFleur explained away Robert's piece is that he has a personal issue. So otherwise, they'd have 100%, of everyone
attendance
of 90 guys today. It's incredible.
It is pretty good. And I guess I want to get your take on this, but like, the media is asking questions to the coaching staff, to the players, asking them this sort of thing. Because in years past, we haven't had people here. You get the disgruntled players that come rise to the surface here because they're not here on OTAs when
Aaron,
they don't have to be.
Young wide receivers.
Brett used to not show up for a long time. But
Brett's on his tractor.
But we've, recent years too. But now you have it where most people are here. And you're going to have that personal excuse kind of thing, personal issue that it's always going to kind of happen. That 1 out of 90, that's pretty good. And then I think
that's top tier, Tay.
Tucker Kraft got married this past weekend, I think. So he was rumored maybe not to be there originally, but then he was. So even he was there. But I don't think the schedule necessarily comes out for these OTAs right away. So there might be players that in the offseason they're doing things like getting married or have
setting
other obligations. So still 1 out of 90 is great. But what do you see the future holding for this? Like, is it going to be not optional anymore? Is this going to be mandatory at some point where the team is like, why aren't you here? This is supposed to be expected of you now. Or will it always be, voluntary?
I don't know the actual NFL league rule book on if teams are supposed to say
This is coming down to the NFL Players
Association. I would guess that these have to be voluntary, and that's why a lot of these contracts at the same time, Tay, a lot of these guys have a lot of reasons, and I'm talking about dollar reasons to be there. So it makes sense for them to be there because those things are built into their contracts. So I would guess that the OTAs, somehow the Players Association, the way the NFL contract is worked out, will keep it that way. I think obviously the team and the coaches look at the players who attend and who are serious about, the task at hand. That you make impressions no different anywhere. So I think it's wholly important. But I think this team, there's certainly some kind of thing in the air with this football team that they know they have unfinished business. They're still really young, but now it's kind of year 2 of that. They saw what they could do as they grew together throughout the course of the season, had a fantastic playoff run, albeit for some bad late third quarter, fourth quarter play in San Francisco. They were in the NFC Championship game, year 1 of Love as a starter. I mean, I think they can really feel like if we put in the work and we come together as a young unit, we can accomplish a lot.
So you think that this is different this year because everyone's here. There's no disgruntled people. They are all encouraged by the coaching staff, all the player personnel. Everything is just kind of coalesced to like everyone wants to be here. They need to be here. They want to be around for their teammates and take care of unfinished business, hit the ground running, and just tackle this. Like, do you think this could be different from next year where you don't get so many people?
True. Yeah, I think this year is a blend of all those things, Tay. I mean, obviously, we're a few years removed from the spring, summer of discontent. We know with number 12, not number 8. We know that there were some issues with Jair. We know now that Joe Barry left in the offseason. So a lot of these things are playing a part in that. And again, it's how they finish the season. And, going into the last year, it was like, well, a lot of these guys just kept to get on the same page with Jordan. Now they're not only on the same page, but now that, as Jordan said, in one of those sound bites, is that it's about continue to build that chemistry. That can only take you further. And that's a huge thing. And I see you brought one of those controversial talking pieces up this week because yes, we are in the off season. Yes, today is May 22nd, but Packer content is wanted 24/7, 365, man. But we should say 24/7, 1265. But you know what I mean?
Wow, there you go. Nice. That was good. That was good, Ren.
Right.
But I brought up Devondre Campbell's picture because what you're talking about here, you're talking about like no one really being like obviously disgruntled that we know about. Well, Devondre just comes out like in the last couple of days and says that, I was unhappy and it made me almost not love this game anymore. And now he's got that back. He's on the 49ers. So obviously it was this team, the Packers and or the coaching staff that made him feel like that. We knew he had issues, big issues.
Yeah, we had heard about
him.
It
was right that he needed to leave because it's just better for everybody. But it's almost like disdain for the Packers in his comments. So do you think this is directed at more than just Joe Barry? Is it at MLF? Is it up the chain even more to the meddler? Like where does this run to with Devondre, you think? I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on Campbell, but I don't know. Like where do you think this goes? Like
I think obviously a lot of that feeling built from Joe Barry today.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how Jair was too about it. He was quiet, but it was the body language and everything else in the few sound bites he did give us throughout the course of the season. We all knew there was a Joe Barry problem. And later in the season, we hear about, how basically the players are going to him and telling him what they want to do. I mean, it clearly tells you there wasn't buy-in and they're going, what the hell's going on out here? Lombardi style. Like, what are we supposed to be doing? You're not putting us in a good position. So there's a lot of that there. So that's not lack of leadership when you're looking to your defensive coaches to have that. And then, Matt's having to, politic that on the backside. So Devondre's probably mad there. He's kind of beaten up throughout the course of the year. He's not available. And he's feeling like, hey, I make myself available even when I am beaten up and I'm not getting any respect. There was the leaks early last year, when somewhere in mid-season he like had to get up on the plane and yell at these guys. You can't make the excuse we're too young now. This is football. You got to play football, and it was just a lot. I think it was a mix of a lot of things, but I think number one, yeah, definitely Joe Barry. And then, yeah, he might be salty about, the contract he was given with management, and then they, dump him at the end of this year. And he's like, man, I gave you my body and soul, and my body was beaten up, and I don't get appreciated for it. So guys can feel salty about those things. But hey, at the same time, the other side of the coin, with Devondre is like, hey, the Packers were the only team to say, hey, at the time, we think he can be something on our team. He does become something on our team. They reward him for it. How can you really complain about that?
Well, let's move on to something a little more positive. Back to the OTAs, Ren. There was kind of like a rehab area where obviously players that can't participate fully in practice go to do whatever warm-ups and whatever instructions they're supposed to be doing. And that group was Tucker Kraft, who had just gotten married this past weekend. Congratulations, Tucker. He had a pectoral issue that Matt LaFleur said would probably keep him out of practice until training camp.
Yeah, I heard he's going to have surgery, Tay.
Really? Okay. Dang. Okay, well.
Torn pec. It's the season of the pec.
Matt
Tay
didn't really bat an eye at that. He didn't seem to be worried.
This is the time to do it. Hey.
Yeah. So that's happening. Zach Tom also has a pectoral muscle injury. Then you have Keaton Oladapo.
Keaton.
And Tyler Davis. Keyshawn Banks is on that list. And then we were kind of additionally impressed that we see Kingsley, JJ, and Agbare out there in full practice mode, no brace, no anything. He's out there full swing. Matt LaFleur says, yeah, good to go. Obviously, we learned a couple weeks ago that he didn't tear anything in his knee I think in Dallas.
Yet he told the media and everybody else that he did tear his ACL. So that came straight from the horse's mouth. Like, I don't know what happened there, Tay.
Whatever, but good news. He's playing and practicing.
Great news.
So that's awesome. Yeah. And then there's no really other like roster or personnel issue to bring up with the OTAs. So it is great to see everyone, and that's very encouraging. Everyone's in
heck
town.
Yeah, again, 89 and 90. We got the one that's not there has a personal thing going on, as Matt referred to. JJ the jet plane full go already. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts, man. I mean, it's nuts what we thought. I mean, we were talking about getting a veteran edge, because they're going to need a situational one. Obviously, we loved where JJ was and how he's coming along. I feel a little bit better about the group now. I still think there may be one body light there, but it's awesome that JJ is available because he's gotten better with each year he's been in the NFL. So super stoked on all that stuff, Tay. But yeah, the summer of the Pec began with the spring in Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur doing something.
He's trying to work out too hard, and he tears his, and then Tucker working out at the facility tears his. I think Zach did his at the facility working out too. Okay. I don't know if they, what's going on, but no more hammies seem to be the issue. That's been a thing this week. It's pecs now because apparently, if you're listening to the Watson clips, Tay, he is in great mental space and physical space down at UW-Madison doing all this different training of the hammy, trying to get it elongated to measure up to be the same as the other hammy. And in fact, the NFL has pushed monies in to study hamstring, these soft tissue injuries, because they're becoming more and more prevalent. And that was one of those things, is making sure that they're both the same on each side. So that hammy strengthening it up, and that these two hammies match up. So it's not maybe one kind of using too much than the other, and then you lead to more injuries.
In Watson's locker room interview, he said that a bunch. Said that in many different ways, that he was favoring one side, and that it was asymmetrical and unbalanced. That he discovered that. They told him that, and then they are working through that to strengthen both sides equally to get them matched up, like you were saying. I'm assuming that the stronger one is the one that gets pulled because it's being used more or something. But I don't know. Maybe the universe can correct me. But hopefully the one that is being injured obviously gets taken care of, because keeping him on the field, I think, is going to be key to opening the entire playbook for the Packers. And we all are very much aware of that. I think I'm not as high on Watson as everyone else is, including yourself. I think, he's like the X factor, and he's on the list of all WR1, every time is Watson. But I'm like, I still am, prove it. Like, go out there and tell us and show us that you're wide receiver 1. That's what I'm looking for this year. And getting him on the field for that is obviously necessary. So I want to see something from Watson. And hopefully both hammies can do that for me.
Agreed to. I mean, I love the receiver room in total, just due to the depth and different talents that a lot of the guys bring to the table, from Reed and Wicks and Watson and Dobbs. They just all have little things they do differently, and they all kind of complement each other with that. And then you throw in the 2 tight ends, and it's, like I said, you're cooking with gas, and you got Josh in the backfield able to catch, Marshawn in the backfield. He's going to be used as a pass catcher too. I mean, but yeah, you're right about Christian Watson. I mean, certainly you hope it gets better, but I'm at my point, my favorite receiver at the moment is Dontavian Wicks, just because I like what he can do in open space. It's about consistency, until I get a large sample size in one season to really give me an idea, like, this is what this guy looks like, from week 1 to week 7 to week 17. It's going to be hard to believe in it. Availability, Tay, best ability. So that's what he's hoping for, and they're working on it. And hey, you got to feel good for the guy that he's feeling so good right now. And obviously we're about 100 days out from the start of the season, so long way to go, but glad he's already feeling that good.
Let's get back to Tom real quick. Zach Tom is out with the pectoral. He was operating the right tackle position. So we heard a lot of this in the coaches' press conferences about the best 5. That's the key word, the catchy word phrase this offseason is the best 5 available. We got to see that right away in OTAs on Monday, I think, or maybe it was Tuesday. They basically, showed us who they probably thought was the best 5. It was
generally last year's starters, correct, except Tom, because not available.
So you got Walker on the left tackle, Jenkins left guard, Myers center, Ryan right guard, and then you have obviously Tom was the right tackle. And then now you get an option though, and you get to see while Tom's out, with this pectoral muscle injury, you have Dillard and Morgan that you can even try there. I think you still have Caleb Jones around. You have other guys to put through and even move around on the line just to see who is the best 5. And it almost gives you like an opportunity. That's how I see it. And I think I heard, Matt LaFleur talk about it and some other people talk about it, but yes, this is a opportunity for the Packers, since they do have an injury on the offensive line, to shift things around just to see what they have. Not that they wouldn't have done this, but this is a great opportunity to do that. And they are. And so very early, all this is very early, but I love that you actually kind of see this happening, this best 5 scenario where they're like, oh, let's try this out. And having Tom out kind of, is a catalyst for doing that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and are you okay with that starting best 5 that we just named off? Like, is that good to you? Obviously, you have to see something from Morgan, but there's the veteran Dillard here now. But do you think that the 5 is the 5 right now?
I think the 5 is the 5 they ended with the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said that in previous shows today. I just don't see Rasheed Walker getting unseated the way he played to end the season. I know Jordan Morgan's a good young talent. He's got good feet. Everybody talks about the arms being a little short. I don't think it's going to be a problem the way he plays. We're certainly going to find out, but I think, Green Bay doesn't rush along O-line prospects anyway.
Yeah.
Certainly getting him some right tackle experience isn't going to hurt. They like that versatility. Is another utility, Tay.
Another utility.
Dillard, he's really underperformed, and we hope that changes scenery from Tennessee, getting him into the mold of Butkus out there can start molding that ball of clay and get us a better swing tackle there if they do need one in a pinch. So, but I think your general the 5 you ended the year with is the best and more than likely the starting 5 to start the season.
Ooh, Josh Jacobs had a little hammy issue.
I hear today.
A little hammy issue on Tuesday.
Not a lot, yeah.
You'll throw some hammy money at him. get that fixed?
Well, I think he's going to be okay, Tay. They just, they see Tammy. They're like, OTAs, we're good. We're not even going to, no, just shut it down. It was just like, he probably tightened up a little bit, Tay. And they're like, you know what? We don't need to even press the issue. Let's just go look at it. We'll get him some rehab. We'll make sure he's good to go coming into training camp. We're not going to press the issue because there's no reason to.
On Tuesday, it looked like Johnson Jr., and that's Anthony Johnson Jr., AJJ, was back there for the first starting defense opposite McKinney at safety. I guess, did that surprise you? How did you feel when you heard that? Obviously, that safety position, to me, is wide open.
100%.
And we all kind of know that. But how did you feel when you were like, they put AJJ over there?
Yeah, he's the vet, Tay. Even though there's not much of a vet. Like, hey, you're going to get the reps first. You've been here. You earned that. The Rooks will, Rooks take seat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You'll get there. When you go out there, Rooks, go prove it.
Yeah.
And
you're looking over your shoulder.
You might be there, as we start the next day. So, but day one, you're just, AJJ, he's going to get the nod.
Let's see. New kickoff rules took place. The media got to see that on Tuesday in action. I didn't really take anything away from what they said about it. Like, did you take anything away from what the media was saying, when they were watching this?
Nothing other than they didn't use 2 back there. They only used 1 when you can use as many as 2, which I find interesting because if they pop it to the right or left side, it's like, a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying it out with 1 at the moment, and we're going to see a lot more of 2 back there as the season goes along. The off season goes along, should I say? And I would say that's probably more the case. They're just starting at point 1. Hey, what does this look like if we do it with 1? And we're going to work through all the scenarios. That's the way I look at that.
Then I did see them mention a bunch of people back there getting the kick returns.
Yes.
So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, you got running backs back there. You got Keyshawn back there. That was kind of your primaries. But you're going to see a lot of different guys. But obviously, Keyshawn's going to be one of your main cogs.
So speaking of the key man himself, Mr. Nixon gave us a good soundbite. And I think we would like to entertain the universe by playing that now. He mentions the new kickoff action, and he mentioned some other stuff. So let's just let's throw it to Keyshawn, and then we will talk about his comments.
Well, welcome back. How was your off-season training and everything like that?
I didn't do too much training. I was trying to get my deal done, but happy to be back. Excited. We talked about it. San Fran game.
How are you feeling with the new kickoff rules?
They gotta see me. I guess it's another rule they changed 2 years in a row. I feel like they changed it for me, but I ain't gonna tell Rich that. But I'm excited. It's gonna be good. They gotta give me the ball, so we're gonna see.
You obviously were good the way it was, but this should suit you even more, shouldn't it?
We'll see. I don't really know how it worked for real. I try to watch like some of the XFL stuff. It's okay. They not, it's a little different.
Speaking about your deal this offseason, how good does it feel to be back in Green Bay, knowing that in San Francisco you didn't know what your future held?
Right. I'm happy I was back here. This is where I wanted to be. I didn't want to go nowhere else, and I'm happy that my agent and Goody and them got everything done, and here for at least another 3.
Early on, obviously, what does X brought to this defensive backfield?
X, I call him the Terminator. He wear an ugly helmet. I don't really like for real. And he got dreads half side of his head. But X, he's a good leader. I feel comfortable being like him behind me, not like that, but we're gonna be good.
What about Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator, and also new defensive structure right now? I played in his defense my last year with the Raiders, so I'm comfortable with it. I like Coach Half. I like what he brings to the table, and his design of the defense. It's a little different than how I played it, but it makes sense. Does it feel more aggressive? That sounds like the motto of the defense this year.
Yeah, run and hit. Yeah, for sure.
It's a packed locker room. It's pretty much perfect attendance outside of, I think, one person. What is it like to...
Who was the one person?
Rochelle.
Oh, yeah. He had a family emergency.
Still, though, to see as many people here, for what is essentially still a voluntary workout, that's nice to see.
I mean, I feel like we let a team off the hook last year in the playoffs, and we know that. And everybody on this team here for a mission, and we ready to win a Super Bowl. So we all here locked in, and it showed that we ain't nothing to play with. They'll be ready.
What's the excitement level, if excitement is the right word, to go to Brazil?
I actually was really excited to go to Brazil. I'm still excited to go to Brazil. I ain't gonna tell y'all why, but I'm excited to go to Brazil. On me, you like a leaping lemur. What's wrong with you? I'm excited to go to Brazil. Real excited.
Why is Keyshawn so excited to go to Brazil? Do we know? Or is this something that he's going to just spring on us, or we'll just forget about entirely?
Oh, no, that's going to be a question that's going to come up from some of the members of the Packer beat. No doubt they're not going to let him get off the hook until they get him to answer that.
Because he teased
one,
us.
So. Yeah.
He totally teased it. And yeah, we're on the hook now.
Maybe it's the Brazilian babes, Tay. There's apparently a lot of babes down there.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
A wax too down, maybe? Had wax down there?
I don't know what that means, but
Brazilian wax. I'm glad to spell it out here.
Okay.
I know. Jeez Louise, let's keep it a little PG
Tay,
here.
that was
But he says a few things here, and I got a couple questions to ask you about it. But what'd you think? What was your? I saw you chuckle a couple times.
I mean, got to keep it real, Tay. They got a lot of business to take care of. So I mean, for real. I mean, you love to hear kind of what he echoes what we said up front. And I think that's a consistent feel amongst a lot of these guys in the locker room. They did let a team off the hook, and they do have unfinished business. And I think they know they're young, and they have the talent to go out there now that they've been on the precipice of beating at the time last year, the best team in the NFC, and that they can go hang. And it's time for them to put their stamp on it, not the other way around. So you just have to love the whole soundbite. It's fun. He's a fun listen. He's a fun player. We've all enjoyed some Key over the last few years. There's really not a whole lot to not like with the whole soundbite there, Tay.
Well, a couple questions for you. He talks about Hafley. He's asked about Hafley. Do you even yes, you consider what Keyshawn has to say about the defense and his defensive coach, but to me, I guess I think of him as the main piece of the defense. He's on the defense, but it's not like a major cog. So does it matter what he kind of thinks about Hafley's system?
Oh, I think so, because he's a defensive player. I mean, yeah, maybe he gets another offensive snap this year. We saw it happen last year, that one time, I believe. But yeah, I mean, he came up with one or two really big picks last year, Tay.
Yeah.
I think he had one in the Cowboy game, if I recall. Keyshawn can play, man. I mean, he come out with a big play now. He's a bit of a ball hawk, and I know that the Hafley defense is going to stress a lot more of that stuff we've been begging for years. That they're going to do a lot more of those strip drills. We always, where's this physical Packer defense? And sometimes, that's going to be to the detriment. The big play happens, but other times it can be big plays that happen because of that attacking style. And I think it's great, and he knows that. But yeah, and he said it: attacking, physical, fast.
He had some kind of funny tongue-in-cheek things to say about the kickoff rules, now they have to kick it to me, they have to give it to me. And I think he loves this. I think he totally loves this. This is exactly.
But they have no choice. They can't. Right, you can't get out of the end zone.
And they can't. He's getting the ball.
Yep.
And that is great, because that's what we missed last year.
Yep.
Right. And we got it 2 years ago. And I think that's great. And he knows it. He's just he's salivating.
He should
for that ball.
It's going to be interesting to watch this thing take place. I know, we talked about just a few brief moments ago, and that's, they started with the one guy back there, but I think they'll go through all the different looks and try to get this thing, to the best place it can be prior to the start of the season. But having a Keyshawn back there is not something the other 31 can say. And that's a huge boon for the Green Bay Packers.
They also said right away, the reporter was asking him about the contract, right? He was a free agent going into the end of the year there.
Correct. So when they ended in San Francisco, he's like, he knew maybe I'm not coming back.
But they didn't know during the game that was going to be the last game. They were going to win. They could have won.
Right. Might be one of those feels, though, on the ride home. You're like, oh, man, this is my last ride with these guys, and we're just starting off. We're just starting.
But he said, during the offseason, he's like, I don't know. I didn't think about that. I'm just
left it at the powers that be. Yeah.
And see what happens. I'm going to transition to another guy with a contract issue. not issue. See, I guess this is where it gets contentious. I think that like we perceive an issue with Jordan Love, and he has 1 year left on his contract, but everyone thinks he's going to get an extension, and we all know it's going to be coming. So it's a huge topic of interest for the media to ask him about this.
Of course it is. It's on everybody's mind. We thought, May the 4th be with you. It's like that. It's been a year, and now it's going to happen any moment. But then Shefty, we talked about last week, he Sheftied us a little bit. So everybody's like, oh, we got to ask Jordan about it. We got to ask Jordan about it. We got to ask Jordan about it because Shefty made it a big deal. Like they're really far apart. It's not anywhere close.
Yeah. Then,
so then the Green Bay beat's going to be like, oh, dude, there's some contentiousness here. I mean, of course they're going to want assets. It's Green Bay Packer football. They're going to ask it.
So when I look at this, like I expect personally, and just like everyone else out there in Packer universe expects this to happen, like this extension, because it just makes sense for the Packers to do so. You already have him on contract. You're going to offer him an extension to keep him on the team and then not pay as much next year when you would do a brand new deal. So that's where we all know where we're coming from, but I'm still like everyone kind of knows this is happening. And then you get the Shefty thing, like you said. So that also, stirs the pot a little bit. So then I'm going to play for you the first questions given to Jordan Love.
Why did you feel it was important to be here?
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that I've always done. Trying to be here, get the reps in, get the work in with the guys, and just start building that chemistry and getting ready for the season.
Do you have an idea of like when you would like that done? Has your agent said you're not stepping on the field for a preseason game until you have a deal done or something like that?
No. So I don't really know what's going on, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to get into too much contract stuff.
Would you be comfortable playing under the current deal, or is that something that you don't want to do at this point?
We'll see. I don't know yet. We'll see.
I mean, to me, it gets a little awkward because it's like the first questions out of the gate is like, "Hey, well, are you playing on this? Are you going to play on this? Are you going to show up? You showed up today, like, which is great, but are you going to show up?
It's like at some point, is your agent going to make you play hardball? I don't think it's ever going to get to that point. I think the deal's done long before training camp opens in late July. I'm not worried about it. It's just going to be a boring day in June when we think we don't have any Packer football to talk about. Then suddenly the Jordan Love deal comes down. So,
probably. I guess I don't like. I personally never like to feel uncomfortable, and that made me feel a little uncomfortable when he's being asked that, and he's like, I don't know anything, and he knows everything.
Of course he does.
And so he has to deflect and reject all these questions. And then I think Wildy comes back later. I think he comes up to the interview late. And he asks him, did you get asked about that? And he's like, yeah, I did. Okay, let me ask you a different question. So it's like, boom. Again, at the end of the boom.
Of course he's asked about that. I mean, yeah.
And he knows what's going on. Jordan knows what his agent is his agent is representing. It's not like Jordan's agent is off doing his own thing. He's being directed. And so
he's probably like, how are we doing on that? We're like, well, we're pretty far apart yet, but
well, obviously we want to know if he's going to play or if he's going to hold out. I mean, that's a possibility.
I don't think it's ever anything to worry about.
No,
until it's something to worry about,
Exactly, but there's still like a % chance that could happen, and that's kind of what they're asking. Like, hey, are you going to be here? Are you going to be here? You going to show up? It's like, oh. So he's
the one who signed the extension last year, so
yeah, and he's under contract. He's under contract for one more year,
100%.
So we'll see. But Jordan, you're going to get asked this question 2-3 times in a different way every press conference,
all OTAs,
every locker room.
mini camp. It's just gonna happen.
So, but he's doing a good job of deflecting and just staying.
He's being chill about it. I think for the most part, he's still staying Jordan chill. So,
so moving on a little bit, LaFleur had a press conference on Tuesday afternoon after OTAs, and we kind of mentioned a few things that he said. One of the things that he revealed was that they were going to have 2 joint practices with 2 different teams this preseason. They have 3 preseason games. He let out the bag. I don't know if he was supposed to, but he just kind of like said it. He said that they're going to Denver and they're going to practice one day with them, joint practices before that preseason game. And then he also admitted in the next 15 seconds that the Ravens will also have a joint practice here in Green Bay. I think there's a lot that, the media talked about with that, and we've talked about it in years past how good it is. I think we all like it. Yeah. We love it. he stressed, though, that he just didn't want the second day because of potential elevation in testosterone.
It does get a little chippy day 2.
Right. Especially if you have a fight the first day.
You and I got to see a little bit of that last year with the crew and the Patriots, and it was chippy out there. It was fun. I liked it, you know. Because those guys, they talk about it every year, Tay. They get sick of lining up against their own dudes. They want to do it against somebody else. And Matt LaFleur loves himself some joint practices.
Yep.
We know that.
Yep. And he explained why, because he likes the actual going up against a different opponent, and it's you raise the level of intent in your play, in those practices. Yeah, it's a practice, but you're not going against your coaches, your teammates. You're going against someone else.
Yep.
You're going to play better. You're going to do what you're supposed to do. And everyone's watching.
It's going to get those competitive juices up a little bit more than, and I think it's his way of saying, like, how do I control what I can control within the confines of the collective bargaining agreement, where, back in the 90s when we were in our teens and 20s, they would do 2 days. That's hard on the guys. It was a workout. This is as close as he can get to, like, really pushing these guys hard. And that's the way to do it, is these joint practices.
Yep. One more thing. We got Xavier. We got Xavier McKinney.
Xavier? Like Professor X?
X. We have McKinney, who's back in the backfield, number 1 safety, came over from the Giants, and he had his press conference or locker room interview on Tuesday. And you wanted me to pull out this little soundbite here, and I'm about to play it, and then Ren, we'll talk about it.
In that safety room, has any of them stood out to you?
All of them. I like to say this is the best group that I've been a part of since I've been in the league, and that's from me to whoever the last person is. Don't matter. I think everybody's done a great job. I think the talent level in our room is out of this roof, and it's gonna be fun to play with these guys because everybody's smart. So we all working off of each other, and we're able to build off of each other and compete with each other, make each other better.
This is the best defensive backfield he's played with ever.
Well, I mean, remember, they brought in Half, who his bread and butter is the DB room, Tay. That's where he's excelled throughout his coaching career. He's talked about some of the guys he's coached, obviously, in his career. I mean, Richard Sherman, laid flowers at Hafley's feet when he got to work with Jeff Hafley when Richard was out in San Francisco. So I imagine that, we're going to call him Professor X here forward, Tay. Got to town. Obviously one of the biggest Packer free agent signings in 20 years, Tay. I mean, if this works out, there are going to be a lot of 29 jerseys being bought, Tay. So Professor X may be the dude, but he's like, yeah. I mean, these are the best, and he sees this young coalition of talent, and he's playing next to a young stick of dynamite. Javon Bullard walks in, and he's like probably bending, Xavier's ear and being like, "Hey, we're gonna do some things," and then he starts seeing Javon run around and AJJ, and there's like, "Oh, dang, look at these guys," and we get the Evan Williams of the world, and they're all of a sudden they're like, wow, what can we do with these guys? So
are you buying into this, that he really truly believes that, or do you think this is just player talk?
No, I think he believes it, Tay. Again, with the juice that that Hafley brings to that backfield, I just think we're going to be over the moon with regard to what this new built Packers secondary with this new coaching staff looks like, and with their main chess piece that they brought in the offseason in Xavier McKinney.
Like I'm looking at the previous New York Giants rosters the last 2 years, 22 and 23, and it's a young backfield that they had. So I can understand how he can say this. And I'm not diminishing his comments by any means. And I'm excited about this backfield too. But I think it was Aaron that he would say, this is the best team that I've ever played with. He said that like 3 or 4 times. So I guess, pardon me for being a little skeptical. But I just think I wonder about those, super outlandish comments sometimes. But I think to your point, I do think X believes as a whole this defense is right where he wants to be. He might have said like the DB room and the defensive backfield.
Yeah, but he's like also like
I think he's saying
he gets in there with Jair, and Jair's kind of a similar blend of his
Mm-hmm.
personality. He's like, oh, me and Jair together, like, oh dang.
Because then you got Devontae Wyatt, Walker, and Stokes, all Georgia boys. You know they're tight. They're all got the same vibe going on. So I'm thinking this comment is kind of like a whole defensive thing to me. That's how I interpret this. He loves where he's at. He loves the coaching staff. He loves his young boys that he's got around him. They're his guys, and he's stoked. So I guess I don't want to, mince his comments a bit, but it's like the best defensive backfield. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it will prove to be just that.
Again, remember, we just talked, that whole room got flipped. That safety room got flipped in the offseason today. The glow up of the safeties. And then, yeah, I mean, you get to go play with Jair Alexander. You get to play with another guy that just loves playing football, and Keyshawn Nixon.
Yeah.
I know. Obviously, Valentine had a really great rookie campaign. He's going to learn more from all these guys together. Valentine, I mean, and then you got Stokes. They're all relatively young. And then you bring in Kalen King with a giant chip on his shoulder. I think there's a ton of talent in that backfield, Tay. A ton. Mm-hmm. And they're all young guys that grow together in the new system, and just go out there and, attack.
Yep.
Strip balls out, pick balls off, and get after it.
One more thing I've got on my list, Ren, and that's A.J. Dillon. We kind of speculated ourselves that when he took the contract, that it was basically like, okay, well, he loves D.C. He's the mayor of Door County. He loves this place. He's not going anywhere, and that's probably why he took the deal. And he said as much. He said in some comments, I think it was in the last 2 days, but here's a snippet. A.J. Dillon says, quote, "We had some good offers from some good teams. My wife and I had to sit down and discuss what the best move would be for our family. At the end of the day, the best place for my family and I was Green Bay." So I do believe he got better offers from other places, but he saw himself, I think in other comments in this, in the same interview, he says that he would come back and live here even if he went somewhere else. Like, this would be his home. He's here. And I think it just made sense for him to kind of take whatever deal the Packers were going to give him, try to, make that number 2 spot, RB2, if he can, and see what he can do for the next, year, 2 years, whatever, 2-year contract, I think.
I think isn't it a 1-year deal? It's just a 1 year, like kind of that weird 4th year option deal that they can, or 5th year option deal that they can use on players taken post round 1. It was a very unused thing. Yeah, the 4-year player qualifying contract, Tay. A unique and rarely used contract mechanism. He'll earn $2.575 base and $167,500 signing bonus, but only $1.2925 will count against the cap. Mm-hmm. So, he's gonna, if he plays the whole year, he's gonna get $2.5 million. Hey, ain't a bad day at work, right? But if this dude turned down, a deal where he could get another $2 million in a season, AJ, I don't care how much you like Door County, you leave for a year and you get the extra $2 million because you're running back and your shelf life is short to begin with. Take the money. You can live in Door County longer. The rest of your life.
I can respect the decision, though. I really do. I think once you've made roots, it's difficult. A lot of people.
I respect it, Tay, but I'm just saying.
I know we don't know what he was offered more than the Packers.
We don't,
but he's qualifying it as they were good offers, and that we can.
Of course, he's not going to say like nobody
that it was more.
Nobody but the Packers gave me an offer. That was it, which might have been the case.
Yeah. I don't know. I like AJ. I'm glad he's back to compete against it. I think you can't just give him the job. He's got to play against Lloyd to see, and even the other two, Emmanuel and Merriweather, Wilson. No, yeah, Wilson and Merriweather.
I think honestly, Tay, being the third running back in Green Bay is going to take a little pressure off him and take some hits off him. I think he might be a little more fresh. I sit here today on May 22nd, Tay, and he's the third running back at best. He's not vying for number 2 here. That's a done deal.
Wow.
And people have already talked about what Lloyd looks like in practice, Tay.
Sure.
He pops to the media. He pops to the coaches. He pops. He's number 2. It's not a question. He's it breaking camp. It's not even a question. But again, and I think it might be beneficial to AJ Dillon if he makes the club.
Well, the Packers made the right move because they have a guy that knows the system. He knows the players and is there for depth when someone gets injured. So it makes total sense.
Hey, you need to spell one of or both those guys in a drive. You get a little true thunder, and he goes and takes a hit off of one of those guys.
Right.
Gives you a little bit of that short yardage stuff.
Well, bring him back for the cold weather games, like pound it out. But you never know when one of the running backs is going to have a fumble, have fumbleitis, and all of a sudden you're like, you need to sit out for a little while.
We know that is the one knock on Marshawn is he's got a little, got to get better at the protecting the football. But yeah, I mean, I think if AJ makes the team, he'll be in good shape.
All right, Ren, that's all I got for OTA talk. You got anything else?
I'm good, Tay.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everyone listening. You can always follow us on social media and send us an email, info@packeruniverse.com. Head to our website for other goodies. We appreciate everyone listening to us and giving us support. So we will see you next week when we do video with Joey Christopoulos.
Yeah, Tay, until Joey in episode 273, Tay, on the pup list.
Thank you.